Okay, today we're going to be talking about solving equations. Your goal is to solve for the specified variable in the equation by using order of operations. Now, we've already learned order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And whenever you work your multiplication division, it must be from left to right, as well as your addition and subtraction. When you do equations, you are basically working backwards. It's kind of like trying to open up a present that somebody has gift wrapped to you without tearing the packaging. So with that being said, some things we need to know. An expression. An expression is a mathematical sentence that does not have an equal sign. That is what's super duper important for you to know. It does not have an equal sign. An equation.
Hey, attention in the building. This time, all Newcomerstown students are dismissed.
Sorry for that interruption. An equation is a sentence that does have an equal sign. It's saying that there are two things that are equal. That is an equation. Next thing you need to know is what a variable is. A variable is your letter. A coefficient is the number attached to the letter by multiplication. Super duper for you to know that. Super duper important. Like terms are terms with exactly the same size, same variable and exponent. An example of that. 3x plus 4x. Those are like terms. 3x squared plus 4x are not like terms. So be super careful and make sure you're combining like terms effectively. The next thing is distributive property. The distributive property is whenever you take the a on the outside and you multiply every single term on the inside by a. Everybody does great when the distributive property is on the left-hand side. However, when it's on the right-hand side, this is when everybody messes up. Okay, so we need to be super careful of that. So we are going to go straight to your homework. So here we go. A plus 6 is equal to negative 12. How do I solve for A? You are going to do the opposite of what 6 is. It's positive 6. So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Because this right here, this scale, this equal sign is a scale. So you have to keep it balanced at all times. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So those cancel out, and I'm left with an A is equal to, you owe $12, you owe $6, so you are going to owe a total of $18. Okay, go to the next one, number 3. How is 2/3 attached to the G? G is what we're solving for. The 2/3 is attached to the G by multiplication. So how do you get rid of that? You are going to divide. When you divide by 2/3, you are actually multiplying by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 3/2 on both sides. That means that the 3's cancel out and the 2's cancel out, and I'm left with G. We're going to put this over 1. Multiply straight across to get 36. Multiply straight across to get 2 in the bottom. And then divide, and that's going to give you negative 18. Now, a quick, easy way to do this is by cross-reducing. Look diagonally, 1 and 3, nothing goes into them, but look diagonally here, and you're going to have divide them both by 2. That becomes a 1, and that becomes a negative 6, and then negative 6 times 3 gives you negative 18. That's cross-reducing. Number 8, 2z minus negative 6 is equal to 9. Biggest thing I need your brain to notice right here is what a double negative is. A double negative creates a positive. So now we're solving for z. There's the 2 attached by multiplication, and there's the 6 attached by addition. But if you recall, we were doing PEMDAS backwards, which means do I get rid of the multiplication or do I get rid of the addition first? Well, remember we're working backwards, so that means we get rid of the addition first. Okay? So how do I get rid of a plus 6? I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Working from left to right, I drop down the 2z. The 6 cancels out, and I'm left with 9 minus 6, which is 3. Now, how is the 2 attached to the z? It is attached to the z by multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication is division. Since it's a whole number, we just simply divide by it. So I have z is equal to 3/2. This is as far as it needs to go. You do not have to write it as 1.5. I would prefer that you not write it as 1.5 because I want it to be an improper fraction. An improper fraction is whenever the top number is bigger than the bottom. Okay? I want an improper fraction, so 3/2 is perfect. Number 11. Number 11, what you should notice is parentheses. And according to PEMDAS, you need to do your parentheses always first. So this right here is what we have the distributive property. It's called the distributive property. So we're going to go ahead and distribute here. So I have negative 6a plus 10 is equal to negative 4a minus 16. Okay, so I always take the smaller variable. The smaller variable is going to be, in this case, negative 6a. So how do I get the a's on the same side? I'm simply going to do the opposite, so I'm going to add 6a. So working again from left to right, I drop down the 10. I ate 4 apples, I have 6 apples, so that gives me a total of 2a minus 16. Again, working from left to right, I now have to combine like terms. My like term is going to be these two are like terms now. So if those are my like terms, I need to go ahead and I need to bring over the 16 to the left-hand side. It's a minus 16 that's attached to the 2a, so I'm going to add 16 to bring it over to the left side. So 0 and 6 and 1 and 2 gives me a 26 is equal to 2a, and that cancels out. I'm solving for the letter a. The 2 is attached to it by multiplication, so how do I get rid of it? By dividing. So if I divide both sides by 2, I have 13 is equal to a. Number 12. This one's a tricky one. This one is a tricky one. So the biggest mistake that my students make is right here. Everybody likes to make negative 5 and negative 2 become negative 7. You cannot do that because order of operations always tell us that you have to do parentheses first before you do anything else. And you many of you are going to say, but Mrs. Yoder, I want to do equations, so that means I have to do subtraction first. But you have to get rid of parentheses before you can do anything. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this right here, this subtraction, to addition, so that we do not make a huge fatal error. So I'm going to go ahead and recopy this problem. So 3 parentheses, x plus 2 is equal to negative 5 plus a negative 2 parentheses x minus 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distribute where I need to distribute. So 3 times x is 3x, plus 3 times 2 is 6 equals negative 5 plus negative 2x plus 6. If you do not change your subtraction to a plus negative, many of you will only distribute the negative 2 to the first term of the x, and you will completely forget to distribute it to your second term, making that negative 2 times negative 3 a positive 6. So super important that you watch and you distribute that negative with the number attached to the parenthesis. So now we're going to combine like terms, and my like term is going to be negative 5 and 6 over there. So I have a 3x plus a 6 is equal to 1 minus 2x. So now I've combined like terms on each side of my equation. Now I need to bring my like terms on the same side of my equation. So if I do that, I have a 3x and a negative 2x. And remember I said earlier, I'm always very consistent with what I do, and I bring the smaller x over to the other side. So that means I'm going to deal with the negative 2x. So it's minus 2x on the right-hand side. So to bring it to the left-hand side, I do the opposite, so I'm going to add 2x. So I have 5x plus 6 is equal to 1. Now I need to get rid of the things attached to the x. What is attached to the x is 5 and 6. 5 is attached by multiplication, 6 is attached by addition. So I'm working PEMDAS backwards, so I'm going to get rid of that lovely little 6. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Just grabbed the wrong tool, please forgive me. So I have 5x left to right is equal to negative 5. Then I'm still solving for x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to negative 1. This is a big, big, big problem. I promise you, you will see this again on every test in Math Excel that we have. Okay? Now, I'm going to skip down to number 17. Where does the negative go? Where does the negative go? That is a huge question to have. The negative can go with either the top or the bottom, but not both, because a double negative creates a positive. If it were to go both, it would change the outcome of the problem, and that's not what we want to do. So you must keep it with either the top or the bottom. Which one is nicer for it to be in? It's always better for it to go with a number rather than a variable. So I'm going to have x over negative 3 is equal to 4 over 9. Now, big thing, when you have a fraction equaling a fraction, always and forever cross multiply. That is the very first thing I want your brain to think of. So you're going to take the top left-hand corner and cross multiply to the bottom right. So 9 times x is 9x. And that is going to equal the bottom left-hand corner multiplied up against the top right-hand corner, negative 12. So that's a whole lot prettier than what we had before when we had two fractions equaling together. Then we're going to divide both sides by 9. So x is equal to negative 12 over 9. If you were to leave this like that, I would mark it wrong, because you will never, ever, ever see a 2/4 cup anywhere. You must always reduce your fractions completely. So negative 12 divided by 9 has a common factor of a 3. So negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And I have negative 4/3 as my answer. Okay? And the last one that I'm going to do with you, and then I'll answer questions with you later, is going to be giving you a hint on number 19. So the first thing I want you to do is you notice you have this fraction. And I know immediately many of you are going to skip this problem. But I don't want you to. I want you to think a little bit. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to take this 1/30 and I want you to change each of these into fractions here. Just like I have. Put the 6y over 1 and put the 9 over 1. And then you are simply going to distribute. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. Reduce. 6 divided by 3 is going to be a 2y. 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3 is equal to negative 2y plus 13. And I'm going to let you guys solve the rest. I will answer more questions for you later. If you have any questions, please let me know. Do not hesitate to email me.